It has legitimately been a very long time since I used an eGPU that is an enclosed, closed-off style. I use eGPUs all the time. I use them on my handhelds. I use them on my desktop. My desktop right here, it's actually running an eGPU. This one is a eGPU kind of the more traditional style where you have a nice clean enclosure if you don't want to have an open-faced eGPU where your GPU is potentially exposed to, honestly, impacts and damage, more dust, that kind of stuff getting in there. This one is from Acasis. This here is an eGPU, Thunderbolt 4 eGPU, which is fantastic. This is going to allow you to take something like this. You're going to be able to put in a GPU. You can get it apparently with a PSU power supply or without it, apparently, or at least that's what it says in the little booklet. Anyways, so you're going to be able to get this, put in a GPU. Right now, GPU prices are very reasonable. RAM and that prices are not. So I think a lot of people are going to be taking the devices that they have right now, potentially laptops, mini PCs, and handhelds, trying to stretch those for several years going forward, because just buying a brand new device is basically unapproachable at this point. It's very expensive. So if you have yourself a mini PC that has Thunderbolt 4, USB4, but not a good, not dedicated graphics or not like any dedicated graphics at all, or even the iGPU kind of sucks, you can use this and extend it. If you have yourself a handheld like the Legion Go S, Legion Go 1, Legion Go 2, there's a million different little handhelds, right? Here's one right here, little handheld. You can use an eGPU and make it significantly more powerful. When your handheld's not more powerful enough to run the most recent stuff, you plug it in here, or you can turn this into a dock. This is a 32 gigabyte handheld. I can plug it into this and turn this into a desktop. Use it as a daily driver. Very good. Laptops. Lots of laptops you can get with Thunderbolt 4, USB 4. They do not have any form of dedicated graphics or crappy dedicated graphics. And you want a game, you want to be able to stretch that further. A lot of times it's not the CPU that's going to be the problem, because typically, CPUs are overkill if anything, but you are going to need more GPU. So nice clean look, obviously, very simplistic, metal design, very nice. Okay, so I have a couple GPUs that I could put in here. One of them is a monster. This is a 5070 Ti, but it's a Vanguard, so it's a massive, 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 massive 5070 Ti. It might be the biggest. It's huge. Like, this is my other 5070 Ti, which is back behind there, is like half the size of this thing, and it runs just fine. But will this fit in here? Oh yeah, that'll fit just fine. So this is like the biggest GPU ever. This is the size of a 5090, to be honest. It's effing huge. So if this thing's going to fit, you'll be fine. Excellent. Massive GPU here. It's kind of funny just how big this thing is. So yeah, you can put in very big GPUs. Like I said, this thing will go all the way up to a about the size of a 5090. It's very big. If you wanted to do that, I'm not going to put in NVIDIA. You can if you want. I'm going to go with AMD because the laptop that I'm going to test it on today is not an Intel. It's going to be an AMD based machine, and generally speaking, AMD eGPU drivers are just very well evolved. NVIDIA works very well as well. I'm not saying you can't use NVIDIA. I use NVIDIA right there all the time, but I generally find that AMD is nice, especially on handhelds, because the handhelds actually use the same drivers. Okay, so that's that there. Again, this is like a true SFX power supply here. It's tiny. You could put in an SFX large, which would also cost less money, come out quite a bit larger. I just have this, so whatever. And yeah, again, this thing is way overkill. 850 is way overkill. 500 to 600, probably something in there, even 650. That's the better price range for, just buying into this and not spending much money. But if you got it on hand, that's the thing. So one of the nice things about these is if you buy it, a lot of people just have old power supplies lying around, and it doesn't take much power to drive a GPU, honestly, like at all. And not too heavy. You get the weight of the GPU, the power supply, and the case, but it looks nice. Nice, clean little thing. All right, so let's get this set up, and we'll just start testing with some systems. Should be pretty straightforward, to be honest. Okay, and there we are set up. 9070 inside there, fantastic GPU, obviously. Just running to the back of this here, giving me display out, obviously. Very nice, 1440p ultra wide. Now, normally I use this connector here and plug it in here, but let's say I don't need to do that anymore. Take that out, because it also has a USB in the back, as you can see here. We're cooking. So the USB in the back there, it's not going to take up really any bandwidth, right? So having this USB dongle for the mouse and the keyboard plugged in the back here isn't going to use any real bandwidth. Okay, one other thing, of course, you can do is enclosure. So this is my Acasis Thunderbolt 4 enclosure. I have other ones like Thunderbolt 5, like these over here, this kind of stuff. There's different uses, but this is the one that I do all my video editing on. this is not the drive, but technically I have my 8 terabyte NVMe inside of here most of the time, and I do all my video editing on it. It's fantastic. I don't need to have that much storage in my system as a result. This thing actually works as a dock as well, so you get additional stuff. This is a fantastic little product. I've already reviewed it, but moral of the story is this is now plugged into the back of this. This has a Thunderbolt 4 port in the back of it. It's on my primary work drive, obviously. It should give us decent performance. Some of the bandwidth is going to be taken up by the screen, right? But yeah, 3000, right? Okay, so here we are in a game. I'm just going to leave this kind of thing, just whatever, doesn't really matter. I'm not benchmarking the GPU, I'm just showing you that it works. So here we are, obviously, at 1440p, very, very, very high resolution. For the iGPU, there's no way. Like, it's a good iGPU, 890M, very good, honestly, but it's a very 1080p, and 1080p low to medium if you're lucky. It's really a 1080p low GPU, meant for handhelds and that kind of stuff. But you can get good frames out of it. Medium, you can get 45 FPS, that kind of stuff. It does okay, but 1080p, probably with some scaling. Here is 1440p, ultra wide, with medium high mix, 40p, and yeah, you're not going to get all of the performance of this GPU. This GPU could do this resolution like if it was inside of a PC. You could do probably high, and you'd be getting this kind of performance, maybe even a little bit higher on high, like maybe probably get about 120 on high instead of 110 on medium, something like that, because you're not leveraging the whole GPU, because that's the way that Thunderbolt 4 works. The bandwidth on the GPU cable, on the cable, it just doesn't output the full performance of such a powerful GPU. So in some cases, I don't necessarily recommend getting something this powerful, like a 9070. You certainly can, and I mean, right, we're getting 113 FPS here. It's very high, obviously. Average is 97 moving around, but it's good. We'll put it that way. It's good. 1440p ultra wide. We're able to play games at much higher settings and much higher resolutions than you would ever be able to get out of something like this. Now here's where things get real serious for me. Handheld gaming. Handheld gaming is great. I love it, but I mean, you're always at the mercy of the iGPU. We'll put it that way. Like, how powerful is the iGPU? There's no upgrade paths. This is Valheim. This may not look like it's hard to run, but this is an insanely hard to run game. If you know, then you know. This is an insanely hard to run game. And look at this. This is such a complex scene. I'm like praying to get 50 or 60 in this normally, with lower settings, and this is higher settings. And look at that. I don't know if you can see, that's very small. Let's get a little closer here. So anyways, this is not Windows, by the way. This is not Windows. This is Steam. Oops, hold on. This is Steam OS, right? So this is the Legion Go S, Steam Edition, not Windows. And you just have to, there's a couple steps you can go about, and then it's plug and play. So once you just basically enable, I'll just show you. You just go in here and you go developer mode. So then you can come to developer mode, you can come down here, show advanced update channels there. And then when you do that, I put it into main. You can go Steam Deck stable for every GPU. I just put beta, whatever, but then you're good. Right? And because this is an AMD GPU in that, this is an AMD, it's just plug and play. It's just fine. It's like, yeah, we have AMD and that's AMD. And this game, like, there's no way you could play with these kind of settings. Like, it's not the craziest settings, but I just gave it an unlocked. 1200p high, medium, 80% scale. There's no effing way. You'd be at like 20 FPS right here, and I'm at like 100, right? It's so good, even in here. And the thing is, this game is CPU and GPU heavy, very CPU and GPU heavy, because there's so much stuff being calculated. When you come up here, this is our dope ass base. When you come up here, you can see this would be so hard to run because there's so much particulate effects here. It drops down, right? We're at 75 or so, but this would be at like 20. Because there's so much CPU load here because of all the stuff going on here. There would be so much GPU load as well, kind of both things going on at the same time, and it would just tank the system. And here we're at, easy 100. Okay, so just as a proof of concept here, same settings. I've had to max out the system, like GPU, all that kind of stuff. And it's not even close, right? We were at 110, 120 in some places, and here 92, 120. I mean, we're under half. We're struggling. I mean, it's still playable, obviously, but anytime we do anything, we're struggling to maintain, right, like 35, 40. Again, I consider that playable. It's not a problem. That's how I play. I lower the settings normally. I just don't want to play at this kind of FPS. But just as you can see here, it's less than half, right? Not even close. We were at like 110, 120 sometimes, and we're at 40. So it's 2 to 3 times slower, right? So again, I don't necessarily recommend getting a 9070 and putting it in here, or 9070 XT and putting it in the enclosure. You'd be much better served with something like a 9060 XT or 7700X, something like that. 6800X, something like that. That's just not as expensive because you're leaving performance on the table. But this is still very playable, but it's massively more playable if you're going to play on the with the eGPU. Like, it's not even comparable. This game is playable with these reasonable settings, with these higher settings. It's just not great. And you can get much worse areas than this. But there are games that you're like, all right, I don't really find that playable. This is pretty hard to run, this game, but it's reasonable, right? So the moral here, I'm not going to play this game more, but I might want to, but the moral here is that you're able to take something like this here, pop in, honestly, I mean, you can buy a GPU to put in it, but honestly, a lot of times, get yourself a little, power supply, pick one up used is probably the way to go, or just cheap. It doesn't have to be nearly that much watts. Put in, if you want to buy a GPU, sure, I probably wouldn't go this high. I'd go to like a 9060 XT or something like that, if you go with AMD, which is probably the way to go. 9060 XT, or last generation 7600 XT or something, or 6800 XT. Pop it in, and then it's plug and play, right? Even on Steam, now Steam OS supports it. So before, right, it was your Windows. You're always in Windows. You had to be with Windows, but that's not the thing anymore here. Now all of a sudden, you can do it with SteamOS, as long as you update, right? This is the base here that me and my two friends, there's so much work on this. We have our portal hub over here, kind of a vineyard over here. That's like a forge kind of thing up there. It's not finished yet. It's minor portal hub. This is where we do our black metal and flame metal. Pig pen, wolf pen, that's new. We just built this. Look at this. Sick. It must have been a pain. Because they were kind of down a level and he raised it up, looks like. Anyways, so I'm not getting off track. I haven't played for a couple of days and he's done all this work. But yeah, you're able to take a handheld like this. The SteamOS Z1E is good. I mean, it's a good handheld, but you can't even get close to this kind of performance. You'd be at like a quarter of this, right? Again, you can get a 97. I'd probably drop down one tier, get yourself a 9060 XT. It's more than enough. And you'll just have a blast, right? It's going to be fantastic. I usually turn up draw distance. Oops, let's turn that up there. The only one I normally turn up is draw distance, and everything else is on like low because it just can't handle it, right? And I'm at like 50 to 60 FPS, and I'm like, yeah, I can play. That's like basically it. Here I've massively increased the settings, like hugely, and I'm getting 2 times the FPS. So yeah, it's very good. This is one of the best ways to use it. Honestly, in my opinion, one of the best ways to use it is with a handheld. You're going to have an absolute blast with it. Then you can take a handheld that you maybe already have as a gaming thing and turn it into a desktop, right? Like, you already have this. You don't necessarily talk about the mini PC or the laptop. You can get a mini PC, plug it in, enhance the graphics, like that there. Get yourself a laptop. You probably already have the laptop with USB4, Thunderbolt 4. Plug this in here. All of a sudden, you've turned it into a gaming laptop or a desktop replacement. Way more power, obviously. If you already have a handheld, as long as it has USB4, Thunderbolt 4, which a lot of them do. It can be Steam as well, Windows or Steam. It doesn't have to be one or the other, or of course like Bazite or something like that. You can turn this into a significantly more powerful gaming handheld. Obviously, as you can see here, I'm at 120 FPS here, where I'd be at like 50 or 40 right now. Or you can do that, and you can then also just like output to the screen, which is just turned off right now, output to the screen there, and use this as a gaming PC. or a desktop. Again, because it does have that USB plugged in there, right? I can play mouse and keyboard games right on this here, right like that, or I can put it on my big screen there without any issues whatsoever. If you have yourself an ROG Ally X, ROG Ally X box, Legion Go, Legion Go S, Legion Go S even with Steam Edition, Legion Go 2, MSI Claw, or any of the Windows-based ones that use the standard chips like 1X player kind of stuff, this thing is going to work very well with the handheld and really increase your performance.